Hey, can I borrow a pen? Mine's out of ink.
Yeah, sure. Just make sure to return it when you're done. Here you go.
Say, thanks. I said I needed a pen.
Yeah, I know. It's a fountain pen.
Oh, okay. Hey guys, Gosei here, and welcome to my review of the DX Seiken Sword Driver and Suisan Nagare and DX Lion Senki Wonder Ride Book, and the DX Hisatsu Belt Clip Holders and Jakkun-to-domenoki Wonder Ride Book. Now, if you guys never saw my Peter Fantagista Wonder Ride Book overview, I told you that I already pre-ordered this stuff, and I was going to do a triple review of all three of those items, and today's the day. Yesterday I got these guys from Tokullectibles, so big shout out to them again. And if you guys did not see the stream where I unboxed all this stuff, I would suggest you go watch that first before I do this. Or if you don't really care for live streams, then you can go ahead and continue on watching this video. But with that being said, let's take this to the review station. So with the initial release of the Seiken Sword Driver, you get the Seiken Sword Driver itself. You get a repainted version of the gamer driver and the belt clip back here for the straps. And of course, you get the DX Brave Dragon Wonder Ride book. But since I got the deluxe set with the blades stuff, you also get the Seiken Nagare emblem, the DX Lion Senki Wonder Ride book, pretty cool. And of course, if you also got the belt clips, you get one huge piece which can hold up 2 Wonder Ride books, and you get this second bit that holds 1 Wonder Ride book and also the sword itself. And it also comes included with the DX Jakkun-to-domenoki Wonder Ride book. And if you pre-ordered everything before this stuff came out, you also got the DX Peter Fantagista Wonder Ride book. So overall, yeah, we have a lot to go over today. So I think we should start things off simple by talking about the gimmick before we talk about the belt. Now, this is the DX Brave Dragon Wonder Ride book. Now, if you haven't seen my video where I talk about Peter Fantagista in the overview video, here are my basic thoughts on this little guy. I think it's a nice direction. I think that they're a very nice fit in the hand. I know a lot of people said that they were a lot smaller than what people were leading on to be, but personally I don't really mind the size because, I mean, it's big things that come in small packages. But yeah, let's just take a closer look here at the main page, the main cover of the book. Still, they're all the same mold, so I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I am going to be talking about the cover images here. So here we have Brave Dragon in a nice yellow, gold, red, orange trimming, as well as the Kamen Rider symbol and the Brave Dragon symbol in the Saber language. And we also get this really cool picture of the main dragon, or in this case, the Kamen Rider version of Guillemot, because reasons. And of course, overall, that is a nice light green after effect behind the logo. Now, opening it up, we get that text that I still don't know what it means, but I'm pretty sure somebody will decipher in the comment section. But when we open it up, we also do get this really, really great image of the main dragon outline stencil with the dragon blowing fire onto the page. The fire detailing looked really nice with this whole after effect with the glow and the nice bright white and the red complementary color, as well as some blue on the back side to complement all those, and just overall really nice detailing with the images here saying dragon claws and dragon fire breath, as well as dragon all around the side. Now that we've got the main Henshin gimmick out of the way, let's talk about the actual Seiken Sword Driver itself. Now, this right here reminds me immediately of the story The Sword and the Stone, because this technically is the stone where you're supposed to pull it out from here. But taking a closer look at the main belt buckle piece, you can see really nice gold trimming on there. You can kind of see my face in my phone there in the background of it. But yeah, it's also written in the Saber text as well, which I don't know what any of that reads, unfortunately, but I'm pretty sure somebody will decipher that over time. But really nice gold trim, really nice molded detail as well on the bottom, as well as the side here. We also do get 3 compartments here, and 1 cavity right here in the center to represent the thumb, because you will be holding the driver so-and-so when you're trying to like do certain videos and whatever. You're going to want to hold it like this, so it's nice that Bandai incorporated a little thumb groove for you on that. And we also do get the little patch here that's supposed to represent the main books going into this slot here. So that's really nice, as well as some more molded detailing right there. Pin sections, because this does use pins for the little buttons and switches on the bottom of the Wonder Ride books. We also do get these stoppers as well. Those will fold out when we get into the inner mechanisms of the toy. And of course, if we move on to the back, not that much going on, except for probably just basic detailing and this hollow piece as well to cover up the speaker for the sword. Now that we got the main belt clip out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about the main piece of the attraction, this being the sacred sword. Now this is actually referenced a lot in the show as of right now for the first 2 episodes, saying that the riders in the show are called the sacred swordsmen, and they were chosen by the sacred swords to use to defend. And right now, this is a Saber's sword, the sacred sword of flames, or the Kamen Rekka. And as you can see, really nice molded detailing as well throughout. Really nice black trims for the handles. This is a hollow piece right here. Black trigger represents a book. Again, I mean, I don't know if anybody else pointed that out, but I feel like it just looks like a book opening up. Really nice silver detailing on the edge of the blade here. Really nice gray on there. Really nice silver marker as well for the NFC chip reader. And a really nice transparent thing of plastic to represent inner molding and inner detailing, as well as the symbol for Saber here in the Kamen Rekka emblem, which can be removable. We'll take a look at this later. But yeah, really nice detailing as well on this little bit right here. Very reminiscent of the wizard rings, in my opinion, because this does remind me a lot of just a gigantic wizard section right there. And how the emblems fit in is just these 2 little clips. We're going to connect to these little posts right there and right there on the whole thing, as well as this little tab that's going to slide into that post. This can only fit one way, unfortunately, so you can't hold it upside down. You can't do it sideways. You can do it just in one simple direction. Overall, just a really cool looking sword. And here we have the Kamen Rekka emblem, very reminiscent of the flame design. I really do like to look at the emblems for the Seiken sword driver users so far. I do hope that we get more of these as the show progresses, because we do have a lot of riders to go off of this time around. Still the same NFC chip there, some screw holes, transclear red plastic, and of course the golden trimming on there. Represent Saber's symbol, and so on and so forth. Now that we got basic introductions for the sword itself out of the way, let's go ahead and turn it on. As you can see, there's the on-off switch right there. When you turn it on, you get this nice bright white LED light when you turn it on and off again. Really nice, and when you have it in the standard mode, you just get this. Very nice and loud. And of course, like I mentioned before, the swords themselves have these little markers right there. Same thing with the books. And basically what you do is that when you have something that has the marker right here and you line it up to the sword, it will unlock new sounds for the toys. So when you basically do that with the emblems, you turn it into the basic sword. When you get this thing out of the box and you turn it on, it's already in the Kamen Rekka mode, because as you can see from the light before I even scanned the emblem, it was in the showing off the red light, and it still is with the same sounds. But I figured I might as well show it off, because I know somebody wants to point out in the comments you didn't show it off when it was in the normal mode. But yeah, Okay, now that we've gotten all that out of the way, let's go ahead and take care of business. So basically how to get the Seiken sword driver ready is that you're going to line it up in there, and as you can see there's a couple of tracks, railings, and basically the sword itself has these little grooves there. So what you do is you just put the thing in there, and you just slide it until you hear a click. And basically how that works is that, but basically how that works is that the sword driver, it's actually hitting this little red button on the sword, black button here on the sword. So when it goes in, it'll activate basic sound functions, and that's basically how the electronics work with the sword. Okay, so now we got that out of the way. Let's go into the actual main sounds of the Brave Dragon Wander Ride book. Now, for those of you who don't know, the sounds come from this little main button right here. So let's go ahead and check out the sounds right now since I didn't check them out earlier. Alright, so hitting the button, you get this. And of course, opening it up. Now we got that out of the way, we can finally activate the main Henshin. Now basically what you're going to do is that you're going to line up the tracks here with these little grooves right there on the front side. You can see there's instructions right there on the book. One thing to make clear is that it doesn't really matter what side you put it in on, but since it says it's for the main one, we're going to put it in through here, like so. It's a little tricky to finagle, but once you get the hang of it, you know what you're doing. And once the book is inserted, and once it gets to that noise, it'll start the standby noise. And basically, to Henshin, you just pull the sword. And that alone is why I love this toy line. Just the overall sound quality of that was glorious in of itself, and it's awesome. Also, one more thing I forgot to mention, that the lights here on the sword actually last a little bit longer than what you'd think for basic slashing noise and for the unleash and everything. But yeah, once it because as you can see, this bit here actually reads the marker right there on the back, which reads the marker of the sword, and that basically knows what ride book it's reading and what noises to unlock. So let's move that out of the way and take a look at the Open Brave Dragon Wander Ride book. As you can see, very nice image of Saber right there with his eyes just burning with fire there. And a very nice image of his arm just extending out as if he's using his sword to cast attacks and possibly spells. And a bunch more of the the writing for the book world that I still don't know how to read, unfortunately, but I do know that this means Brave Dragon, Kamen Rider, so on and so forth. But yeah, really nice, really cool artwork there. And overall, just a really fun experience to utilize. Now, when you pull the trigger again on the sword here, just basic sound attack noises. Nothing really changes when you scan the books, unfortunately, but you do get more sounds though when you close the driver back up. So let's go ahead and use that to our advantage. So closing that up and pulling the trigger, you get one of the finishing moves. More standby music, and it won't happen again until you hit the trigger. And there you go. That is the main attack. That is the Dragon 1 book attack for the basic. That's basic for like a rider kick and everything, so on and so forth. And there is another way you can do this, and that is what you have to do is you have to close up the book, and then you have to pull the trigger again. And there we have the Dragon Wander attack, which was used in the show so far. And overall, that is a really nice attack sound there. Now that we've gotten all the basic Saber sound effects out of the way, let's talk about the inner mechanisms of the driver. Now, basically, what the driver does is that once it's inside its slot like this, basically it's closed. There's nothing really much you can do about it. However, though, if you have the book closed up like that, basically what the driver does... Actually, I think I'm going to turn it off real quick. Hang on, I'm going to turn this off. Alright, there we go. Now, basically what you do is that when you have the thing closed up and when you pull the sword out, these stoppers here, they move outwards. So, and when they do that, it actually stops the book from going forward and then closing itself back up again. It's actually just acts as sort of like a blockade, basically, for that. And the little pins actually activate a secondary switch that's inside the book that opens up, because as you can see, there's a little tab right there. And basically, when you close it up, it's locked into place. But when you have the sword and open it back up again, that whole system opens up and the tab just opens, causing it to fly open. Now, while that is a cool gimmick in of itself, there are a couple of problems with this, because if you do have more than one book here, and I'll try to see if I can get that problem on camera. Basically, what would happen would be, if you have two books close together and both of them would want to open, the stopper would hit the back of the book, basically, and it would force it closed if all the books were open. So the real way to activate the finishing move is you have to close it up, put the sword in, and unsheath it. If you have them all open and you do it at the same time, the amount of friction will cause one of the book covers to close up. So, yeah. But now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at the other ride books that are compatible with Saber, and I think it's best we talk about Jakkun-to-domenoki next. So here we have Jakkun-to-domenoki. This is the first book that Saber uses in the show as of this recording to access his other forms, cast in a nice metallic green plastic. And as you can see on the front there, we have Jack climbing up to the giant beanstalk to the kingdom in the sky. And Jakkun-to-domenoki roughly translates to Jack and the Beanstalk, or if we're going by the TV show subs, Jack and the Unearthly Beanstalk. And that's basically it. Opening up the book cover, we have Jack climbing up the beanstalk. As you can see, there's the little pods inside. And, of course, there's the overall image of Jack going up and along to get to the top of the stalk. Now, hitting the button, you get this. A very odd after sound effect when the announcement's done, but I like it. It's funny. It adds to the story arc of Jack the Beanstalk for the most part. And of course, when you open it up and you go to the synopsis, overall, just a really nice overall book. Really love the tunes there. Now let's go ahead and check it out with the sword driver. Now, for the sake of making the video as informative as possible, I'm going to put Brave Dragon in again and put Jack in again as well. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm not going to be activating the sounds again on this one because I already activated them both once, and I feel like if I do that, it's going to get repetitive really fast. So let's just go ahead and take a look. Since Jack is a third square, we're going to put him into the third slot right there. And this will activate the volume 2 form. And there you go. We've now accessed the Volume 2 form of Dragon and Jakkun. Now let's take a look at the sword driver and the main image. As you can see, Brave Dragon is still the same. But when we look over here at the Jack side, you can see Saber's arm is now facing outwards with a little bit of a whip or a rapier kind of a attack weapon forming outwards. And when you look at it, when both books are spread out, you can see that Saber is actually extending his arm out to the right here, and his arm to the left is actually facing that way in the way of the dragon. Now, unfortunately, on like the driver itself, it doesn't really look that good because Saber is all the way over here and this book is all the way over here, so it kind of looks a little bit weird. But it's up to the imagination to see how well that looks. And the dragon and Jakkun-to-domenoki form is actually a really nice form. I really do like the contrast between the red and the white and the green on Saber's suit with this part of the armor here. Using the sword again, you don't really get any changes. Still the same fire-based sound effects. However, if we put the sword back into the driver and activate the Hisatsu, we do get something a little different. As you can see, we've gotten the second volume attack fire because double power, double the firepower. That's a really nice Saber attack. And we also do get a secondary rider kick attack. Now that sound effect, however, though, is exactly the same no matter what book you put into it. Say if I put Peter into it, it's going to stay the same, unfortunately. But the overall just like theme of it and the fact that it activates a different sound automatically makes it a little bit different. So now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and bring in Peter Fantagista since I already brought it up earlier. So let's go ahead and do that, and we're going to activate Saber's secondary Volume 2 form, this being Dragon Peter. A nice bright blue light indicating we are now in Dragon and Peter Pan mode. Really nice. Now let's go over the rider kick and the slash attack. Yeah, like I mentioned, the sound effects for the attacks, they stay the same aside from saying Peter and, Dragon and Jackun. It just says Dragon and Peter. So overall, no real big change there. But overall, just really nice in general for the sounds, because they're nice and loud and nice and deep. Yeah, but overall, that's basically all the functionality you get with the Kamen Rekka and the 3 Wonder Ride books that we have so far. Now there is a little bit more function that you can do with that, and that has to involve the belt clips. So let's go ahead and talk about those, and then finally we can talk about blades and Lion Senki. Shall we? Let's. So here we have the belt clips, and the belt clips come included with the Jakkun-to-domenoki Wonder Ride book. However, though, since I already talked about it, I'm going to have to move that out of the way. But for now, let's go ahead and talk about these clips. Now, you get 2 of these with the overall set. One set here is supposed to hold 2 of the Wonder Ride books, and the other set here is specifically used for the sword, for the sword driver here. But let's go ahead and just go over the overall detailing. As you can see, they're all cast in a nice black plastic here, with some nice silver paint as well, indicating detail. Really nice molding as well. While it is hollow, it is nice and molded. And of course, there are why it's hollow here is because that way it can actually get scanned. And we'll go over that in just a minute. And of course, we also have these bright metallic scarlet red belt clips. And if I'm not mistaken, these are exactly the same ones used for the 01 belt clips. And I think the build driver, I'm not too sure on the build driver part, but I do know that these were remolds. These clip pieces are actually remolds of the Saber stuff. But yeah, this is the one you use for the sword, and this is the one you use for the Wonder Ride books. It's nice, and it fits nice in the palm. It's roughly around the size of a Digivice or a Pokedex, or the old gen Pokedexes at least. Now, basically, when these things attach to the belt, they look lopsided for the most part. That's because you're going to reach your hand out like this and grab them, not like this and grab them. But yeah, just to demonstrate how they look, I'm going to be using Jack here and Peter Pan because these are technically supposed to be used for the sides here. But yeah, what you're going to do is you're going to line them up in the grooves right here, and this little bit right here is actually going to press the activation button for the main sounds right here. So if we put them in, you get that nice confirmation sound there. Same thing with Peter Pan here. And there you go, they're all loaded up and you're ready to take those with you on the go. And it does have nice friction to it. Nice and tight, and it won't come out unless you actually pull them out like that. So that's all and dandy. And you can fit a Wonder Ride book into the slot here, but I wouldn't recommend you doing that because since this is technically used for the sword, with the book in the way, you're not going to have enough clearance to fit the blade. So it's best if you just use only 2 of these, or unless you buy 2 of these and have 2 of this thing, then yeah, you'll be fine, but then you'll have an extra Saber slot as you wish. Now, I did say that this thing does have compatibility with the Kaihen, and it does. It unlocks different sound attacks and everything. So let's go ahead and test those out. What you're going to do is you're going to line up the sword driver again with the grooves, and it's going to have this little track right there. And when you do that, it just locks into place. So that way, unless you don't want to use the sword with the driver when you're cosplaying with this thing or playing around with it, you can keep it like that. None of the main Saber riders have used this sort of feature with their belts, aside from Kamen Rider Caliber, but Caliber's stuff has not been announced yet, unfortunately. But we do see him using this specific functionality for the sword in the show. And when you hit the button, you do get an extra sound. Okay, that was a lot longer than I was expecting it to be, but you get the overall gist of it. Now, before we move on to blades, there is one more feature I want to go over, and that is with the initial ride books, because I did say that the silver bits right here is actually an NFC chip, and when you scan it on top of here, you do get additional sounds. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to line them up, and you're going to get a confirmation. Pull the trigger. And that's basically the one book or one chapter strike. Hit it twice. Chapter 2 finisher, 3 times. And the 3-chapter attack. Now you can do this with the other 2 Wonder Ride books, but for the sake of time and the fact that I don't want to be being tedious on this, I'm going to scan all 3 of these with the sword driver just to give the basic idea of there's no real like right or wrong to do it, because you will get the same attacks every time. So we're going to scan Dragon. And Peter. And then finally Jack. Just a really nice 3-color light with red, green, and blue right there. And that's basically all that you can do with the sword driver with these basic functions. Now to finish up the review, let's go ahead and talk about blades. Now included with the DX set, you do get the Lion Senki Wonder Ride book and the Seiken Nagare emblem, and that's basically all you get for it, basically. Because since the sword driver already comes with the Kaiken Rekka, you basically do get the transformation device and an extra emblem to go on ahead and coincide with the play. So now you can roleplay as your favorite characters without having the need to buy extras. I think the only other rider to do something this similar was the faceplates in Gaim, because if you don't remember, in certain toys and other sets, you do get a lock seat and the faceplates with that. The Sengoku driver came with 2 of them, and then we got Ryugen and the Budo lock seat and the Zangetsu with the Muso Saber, and then we got Gridon, Bravo, Knuckle. I mean, you get the gist of it. But basically, to change characters for the Seiken sword driver, so that way you know which one it is, you remove the Kaiken Rekka, and what you're going to do is you're going to take the emblem. There is still the little NFC reader. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to put it on to the top here. Now you're in Nagare mode. So basically what you do is you clip it on, and when you hit the button you do get a different sound. This one with a little bit more water ripples and a nice bright blue LED light. And I do love the feel of the Seiken Nagare. It's definitely a lot, I don't know, there's just something about it that I just really like a lot differently from the Kaiken Rekka emblem. Maybe it's because it has a little Chris guard on there, but I really do like the overall feel of it. I definitely think it's, I don't know, there's just something about it that I just really like. And getting in a little closer here, we do have the Blades crest there, incorporated in a nice silver reflective plastic. There you can see me. And while it does change the features of the sword and the slashing attacks, there is a lot of there are going to be a lot of different sounds that you get with it when you utilize it with the sword driver. So for now, let's put this off to the side and talk about Lion Senki for a minute before we continue on with that bit. Now, in a nice dark navy, I want to say metallic blue plastic, we have the giant lion face and Lion Senki, which translates to Lion Chronicle. And I think this story is roughly based on the Lion King itself, because this is technically a lion-based story, and in the show, Rintaro is more about valor and honesty and all that. So overall, I really do like the book itself, and I do really love that image of the lion. It's just very fearsome. Opening it up, you get some nice water flowing effects, and a great picture there of the lion with the mane right there, the teeth, and the paws there. And of course, hitting the button, you get this. And opening it up to get the synopsis. And there you go. Oop. And there you go. That's all you get with that. Now let's go ahead and bring in the sword driver and test out Lion Senki and transform into Kamen Rider Blade. Now since this is a middle Wonder Ride book, we're going to fit it into the middle and we are going to get a different Henshin sound from that. So let's go ahead and transform. Different standby noise. That is amazing. Nice bright blue LED light. Really nice description of the synopsis of the warrior and the main character. And of course you do get different sound effects. And that's really, really cool. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the inner working of the face there on the inside. As you can see, we got a nice little image of the arm there for blades. As you can see, we got a really nice face there with the water rippling all around his body. And we do have the lion there just staring you grim in the face. Very cool. And I do love the little bubble effect as well surrounding it. Although this does kind of seem redundant because in the book world there is bubbles all around it, so all around them. So the fact that it shows it here makes this a little redundant in my opinion. But yeah, we also do get some extra sounds as well when we do the Hisatsu and the rider kick. So let's go ahead and take one of those. And there you go. Now, in the show, he does have other forms as well. And one of those forms being Lion and Peter. So, let's go ahead and close up the driver again. And access Lion Peter mode, his Volume 2 form. Because technically, when this thing was released before Lion Senki was, it gave the description of Nagare, all that other stuff. Basically, this is one of his books, but Saber only used it once because main character needs to try out all the forms before he shares. So, yeah, let's go ahead and just activate those sounds itself. As you can see, it's a lot different from the regular Wonder Rider sound effect, and that's because technically these are his books. So it's going to differ because there's a difference between him and Saber and obvious reasons, so on and so forth. Now, let's go ahead and get in a little closer here on the images. As you can see here, we got a nice Peter Pan and Captain Hook arm here. We got Peter looking at Hook straight in the face. And of course, it just looks a lot better, in my opinion, like this. Because while Saber here was on this side and then the arm was on that side, Blades is on this side here in the middle and the other arm is right there. So it's nice to see that it's just the illusion isn't exactly ruined when it comes to the open books. Now let's go ahead and get down to the sounds so we can check out one last feature of the Sword Driver. And there you go. Now, like all of the other YouTubers have been doing, you can technically use 3 books in at once. So let's go ahead and test that out real quick, because I know somebody will say in the comments that you missed the one of the best parts of the video. So Brave Dragon, Lion Senki, and Jakkun-to-domenoki. So overall, I really do like the driver, like I said in my Peter Fantagista Wonder Ride Book overview video. I really do love this line. I really am hoping that this thing will be as successful as the last year's gimmick, and I'm really hoping that a lot of people will like this line and the show as it progresses, because right now, Saber has mixed emotions from episode 1 to episode 2. Not that many people like it. Many people say it's probably one of the worst seasons of Rider because the main rider is from Ghost. But in all honesty, I love the show so far, since we're only 2 episodes in, and I love the lineup, and I really do like the gimmick this year. I think the characters are very memorable for what we've gotten so far. I do think Rie needs some improvement, but overall, I really do love the belt. I love the sword, I love the emblem gimmick, and I do love the whole book aspect of it. Now, like I said before in the beginning of the video, all my Saber stuff came from the website Tokullectibles. So if you guys want to go ahead and place your orders there, feel free to. I'll leave a link in the description for their Saber page. And if you guys want to, feel free to drop a like and give them a follow as well on Twitter. And of course, you can also follow me on Twitter, this being Gosei Green 1290 Studios. And if you guys like the video, feel free to leave a like and subscribe and tell me your honest thoughts on the Wonder Ride books. And of course, everything that came with this video. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. And this is Gosei Green 1290, signing out.